Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and joined in studio by Ronan McNamara.
How are you getting on?
And out in the west by Mark McGowan.
Yeah, these are headphones, not earmuffs I'm wearing here. It is pretty cold though.
It is. It's nippy out. Well, yeah, on the cold, it's good. Like, it's a time of the year we still should be clipping balls. I better get a plug in for the pod sponsor at the start. So the pod is brought to you in association with Concept Golf out in Blanchardstown, who they have been open for a number of years doing club fits and a really nice studio in there, but they've opened up a new indoor TrackMan studio with 2 world-class bays down there that you can do everything in-house. So I was down there during the week as well for sort of a soft opening, looking at some stuff for next year as well. And what Mark O'Mahony has done down there is really class. So they do have like membership options over the winter and different things like that. You can log on to conceptgolf.ie and check out all that they have. So like I've said, they've membership stuff, and you can just buy gift vouchers even there as well. And the vouchers will cover you for custom fits, for any equipment you're looking at doing, for using the sims, for rental, for all that sort of stuff. So pretty much covers everything, and lessons as well. So there's not much they don't do.
Well, me or Mark?
Jesus, lads, you're slow off the mark today.
This is the first time the remote pod has let us down.
Tui just sitting there staring blankly at me on the screen.
Well, to be fair, I can't see Mark, so I can't nudge in ahead of him. But no, like, it's the type of weather to get yourself stuck into a bit of TrackMan. Let's be honest, like, when is this cold snap going to go? Like, golf courses closed for the last couple of weekends, so you could do a lot worse than go down to Blanchardstown over Saturday morning. Yeah,
exactly. No, something to do. But no, plenty to discuss this week anyway. It's meant to be a slow time of the year. Normally this is the time of the year that you're like looking for stuff to do, but the last few weeks have just seemed absolutely relentless with stuff coming at us, and we'd more leaks during the week about other things that we'll get into on balls and rollbacks and governing bodies having their say and stuff. But this week, I suppose, predominantly in the good news stuff was all about Tiger and Hero World Challenge, and yeah, great to see him back. I don't know, did you get to catch up and watch much golf? Did you watch much, Mark?
Yeah, I watched a good bit of the Hero. Yeah, I mean, Tiger looked pretty good. I mean, obviously his scores are pretty irrelevant, really. I mean, look, it is a 20-man silly season event. So what scores he shot every day were never going to be the big sort of story. It was going to be kind of like, is he able to swing freely? Is he able to walk freely? We've seen him in the past come out and have decent enough rounds at the start of a tournament, and over the course of the weekend, the wear and tear, he's kind of he's gone from looking half decent on Thursday to looking like a washed up fella who we're fearing the worst for on Sunday. But there was none of that this week, really. He moved pretty much the whole way, or the same way the whole way throughout. Still hitting it plenty far off the tee, bombing it out there. I think its longest drive of the week was 370 yards. Now you are talking pretty big fairways, and it's generous. It's a resort golf course,
driving range golf.
But at the same time, look, it was all positive. I mean, where he struggled the most was kind of maybe in around the greens, and he had like a couple of bad sort of mistakes with wedges in his hand, that sort of thing, which, I mean, that's all stuff that you can tidy up, that you can clean up and improve on, and each start. And if he makes the starts that he's been talking about next year, all that rust should be mostly eroded, like by the time, say, the Masters comes around. So all in all, extremely positive week on the Tiger front.
Yeah, definitely not. Like the only negative, like there's not that it's a negative. Like he's rusty. It's just like I couldn't believe it was his 8th tournament in 3 years. That's all that we've seen of him when they were going through the stats. But like the only thing that he'll go away disappointed about, like, I know you're playing against some of the best players in the world that are playing a lot of golf this year. He ranked last in strokes gained approach, which is probably the only negative he'll take away. His iron play wasn't as sharp as he would have liked it to be, and that's normally a huge strength of his, finding greens. He missed a lot of greens this week, when he did, but he showed so much for a guy coming back off the injuries that he's had. It was class to see him. Like, you know, he's only out the gate. That walk to the golf course yesterday morning that I stuck into our Slack channel on, like, guns out, he had the vest on, he carrying that red t-shirt and all, like, is just flexing of the highest order, and that pretty much sewn up Pip for 2024 already as well. So it's funny to see.
The biggest shock of that was that the baseball cap he was wearing was actually forwards. He didn't have the backwards cap on.
And Charlie beside him limping as well, limping in beside him with his gas. We'll have that in a few weeks' time now, Charlie walking like an 80-year-old trying to copy the dad.
But all the other mannerisms down, so...
Yeah, I agree with Mark in general there of his assessment of Tiger. Like, there was plenty of flashes that it looked like he was, you know, still able to play golf, which obviously he is. But Friday, the second round was quite eye-catching, like 4 under through 7. I think a lot of people would have been tuning in thinking, oh, Tiger's going to roll back the years here and go on a serious charge up the leaderboard. But obviously he kind of faded on the back 9 all 4 days, really. And, like, it's one of those, like, I think he was always going to look pretty good this week. It's a Mickey Mouse golf course, like, it's a flat terrain resort, you know, the usual nonsense you get this time of year. And, like, he'll play the PNC as well. He'll look great in that, obviously, alongside Charlie. It's what he does kind of start of the year in 2024. Like, you're going to play different conditions, difficult conditions, different courses, you know, lots of ups and downs, undulations. That's when the real acid test is going to be, obviously, going to Augusta as well. But, like, it was quite relatable. If an amateur could ever relate to Tiger Woods, it's probably this week. You know, you're coming back after winter break, dusting off the rust as we all will be doing in a few months' time, and you're hitting these shots. You're like, oh yeah, I can still play it. And then you're just doing mind-boggling, stupid things that are, like, costing your scores. So it was good and the bad and the ugly from Tiger. But, like, he did beat Will Zalatoris by 11 shots, so there's always that as well.
Another man coming back after injury. He beat 2 lads this week. That's the thing. He beat Zalatoris and he beat, what did you say, the US Open champ? Wyndham was behind him as well.
Yeah.
It
beats 18th out of 20. It's better than any of us would have done.
Yeah, it's mad. It annoys me. It's like the hypocritical side of it. When you bring it down to brass tacks, like, he was like 1300 in the world rankings or something like that as well, like, you know, falling into oblivion.
Inside the top 900 now.
Yeah, well, that's it. He climbed
just showing up.
Climbed 430 places on the World Golf Rankings when it was updated today. And this is after finishing 18th out of 20 at an invitational that he hosts in a select field with no cut. And the only way you can get in is if he asks you. But there's still world ranking points. Like, a little bit of hypocrisy going on there with the boys, but we won't. It's been dragged out to death, that one. But yeah, no. In all, it was it was like, I wouldn't have watched this if Tiger wasn't playing. It's one of those events that you wouldn't give the light of day to if Tiger Woods isn't playing. Even if Rory was playing, you might struggle to watch it this time of the year because it's just meaningless stuff, you know. But yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know what the TV broadcasters are doing. I mean, the Tiger's teeing off. I think it was like about 4:30 on Thursday. So he's teeing off for the opening round, and you know, I'm all getting all set. It's like, surely they're going to be covering this like from the start, and the coverage doesn't kick in until an hour into his round. Like, what are you doing? Like if you're gonna broadcast this tournament at all, like, broadcast all of Tiger. Don't bother. Like, nobody cared about anybody else. This was, if you were gonna get eyeballs watching this golf tournament, that was when you were gonna get them watching. Like,
yeah, and it was always going to be at the start. You know, it was always going to be that, like, a 2 tournament sort of view. Like, Tiger was never going to feature in this, you know, given the level of reps the other guys have and where they're at with their games and stuff. So you're always going to get a Scottie Scheffler. It turned out Sepp Straka put on a bit of a charge as well yesterday, but, like, you had the Tiger show quite early and then you had the actual tournament kicking in afterwards. It was one thing that was good. It was good earlier in the week. Pace of play was actually good earlier in the week, but then it went brutal at the weekend. Like, it's just, yeah, it's another thing. But I wouldn't have any complaints about the the actual broadcast itself, how it was done. I thought McGinley done very well actually for his first week over stateside. He fit in well. He does well. He's letting the natural grey come out now as well, I see. With some interesting messages in our WhatsApp groups.
All the weeks he's beside Brandel Chambly are catching up on him now.
Exactly. Gone white as a ghost now.
They must have confiscated his Just for Men going through the airport security.
No, but he done well. I thought he done well, and he'll be a huge asset to that if he does, because he's so relatable this side of the water. It'll enable Sky to do more sort of not outside broadcast, but use that feed a lot more than they do, and it's much better than going back to some of the stuff they serve up in the studio there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, McGinley's a natural in that arena. Like he's such an accomplished talker. I was actually quite critical of him sort of a few years ago when he was probably only cutting his sort of teeth in the commentary game at the time. But I mean, any of those criticisms, like he's, are long gone. He's improved drastically. He's one of the most. He's one of the most well-read, studied of the guys that are doing broadcasting. I mean, he knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to players. He's not just playing lip service to somebody's, this guy's a great putter or something like that. And then
he backs it up.
Will tell you different. He knows exactly what he's talking about now. He's probably the best in the business at the moment. So I would be surprised if he doesn't end up taking that chair full time. And
yeah. No, so would I. It's but looking up at the top of the leaderboard, like away from Tiger as well, it's just Scottie Scheffler at it again. So the way he kind of had this tournament in his control the whole weekend. It's a real Scottie Scheffler. Like, it's really boring watching him play. I hate saying this because it's just, we've done it over and over. It's like the live chats from last year. It's just over and over, same thing again. But like, he did the same again. Just, looking at his stats from last year again, and it was highlighted so many times on the broadcast as well. Like, finished first in all of the categories a bar putting, and he's 161st on putting. And they made the valid point, like, if he can get himself to the 70th best player on tour, he is going to dominate the season coming up if he keeps the rest of his stats the same. It's just, can he keep everything the way it was stats wise in his strokes gained off the tee, approach around the green? Can he keep all that going in the same way? And like, on this week's performance, it says absolutely yeah, he can, and he did it at ease.
I mean, his temperament is so good as well. There are no metrics to judge that. There's no strokes gained mentality. But I mean, he's just so good in that department. He, any mistakes, he just kind of brushes them off. He never follows a bad shot with another bad shot. He's the closest thing to a machine we've seen since Tiger himself, really, and it's pretty worrying for the rest of the field. If he finds he's got a new putter in the bag this week. He's been working with Phil Kenyon for the last couple of months now as well, so on his slight change in technique and stuff. If he starts putting the ball in the hole with more regularity, the rest of the guys are in big trouble.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a good night situation, but I know. What do you think of Scotty, Ron?
Yeah, we're looking at it on the TV, just watching the highlights. Looks like he has the Japanese putting grip that everyone's talking about. Looks like he's a bit of that going on. But yeah, I'd agree with Mark. Like, if he can improve his putting even just marginally, and if he even like maintain the level with his approach play, like tee to green, he'll be a pretty formidable figure again. Like, it's mad to think we've talked about him sort of underachieving this year. That was the third win of the year. Like, obviously his first win since the player, so I suppose in relative terms that is a bit of a drought. But I suppose he was kind of due one in this event as well. He'd been runner up to Victor Hovland in the last 2 years at the Hero World. Like, he's the second player to win or finish runner up in 3 consecutive years. First man since Tiger Woods, actually. So there's a nice link there. Like, it was the first time he played since the Tour Championship as well, like on tour outside the Ryder Cup. So he hadn't played for a long, long time either. And I suppose you wouldn't really have of guest, but like he'll finishes the year with just ridiculous consistency, like 13 top 5s, 17 top 10s. I know you're all but guaranteed a top 10 this week, but still, like, it's phenomenal stats for a man who will probably look back on his year as underwhelming, in a way, even though he did win the Players' Championship.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I suppose wrapping it up on the hero, there was some interesting stuff happen. I don't know, did you both come across the Morikawa thing with sneaking the old green reading book in and getting a 2-stroke penalty there?
Go on, Matty Fitz.
During round 3. Yeah, Matty Fitz ratted him out. I thought that was brilliant. When I heard that yesterday, that Matty Fitz actually ratted him out to the ref after the 3rd round, sort of asking a few pointed questions about, well, what's allowed, what's not allowed, because it's ironic coming from Matty Fitz that writes everything down, but like, it doesn't come from a computer, it comes from what he sees and does. But yeah, very strange ruling, and I found it even more strange that they kind of took the coward's way out, the ruling, and said, oh yeah, it's just a violation on this hole only. Like, not that they could prove that he was doing it, but like, if they actually got the yardage book, I'm sure he's had stuff written down for every hole on the course, and he's, you know, if you're going to measure out slopes, you're not just going to measure it out for the 4th hole, and that's the one you get caught for. And they said, oh yeah, 1 hole infringement, and I'm sure he was at it the day before. They just kind of said, right, let's just draw a line under this, you know, take the coward's way out.
They could have penalised him 2 shots in every hole, and he was still beating up Zalatoris.
Exactly.
That would have been hilarious.
But yeah, I thought that was funny though. But yeah, it's another one of these quirky, strange rules that, like, yeah, it's not illegal to actually use one of these measuring devices on the putting green. It's not illegal to write stuff down that you're recording. It's illegal to transfer it onto your actual stroke saver that you're taking out on the golf course. So anything that's written down there has to be from personal experience, from your eye, from your feels, notes and stuff like that. It can't be from a third-party source, like of any sort of machine or measuring device or anything like that. So interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those golf things that's just like another stupid rule, because like, surely to get the information from the viewing device, whatever he was using, surely that would speed up play rather than the caddy, you know, stepping it all out and doing all sorts of aiming techniques and what have you. Like, surely, like, it's just a weird one. It's a nonsense rule again. Like, we'll come into potential rules in a moment, but it's just another one. You're like, what's the point? And the 1 hole penalty as well on Sunday, he was clearly been doing that for the 3 days beforehand. Like.
Yeah. No, it's a bit crazy, but like, yeah, I think that's it from the hero. Any other takes from the hero, Mark?
Well, on that one, at least it was good to see a player actually getting penalised for something rather than them taking the complete coward's way out. I mean, we saw it at the Masters earlier on this year with Brooks, and Brooks Koepka when he was quite clearly signaling what club he'd used to Gary Woodland, and you know, I mean, okay, you needed Koepka to admit to doing wrong and everything, but I mean, he just denied it and things moved on. And I mean, like, professional golfers skirt the rules on a lot of things. We see it with backstop, and we see there's a ton of different things like that where they sort of go to the edge and maybe a little bit beyond, and they're not punished for it and everything. So fair play to them for actually enforcing the penalty this time. Now all we need them to do is start doing it for slow play, and you never know. Game might get a hell of a lot more watchable. Yeah,
exactly. No, but moving on from that, like, it's disheartening. I had this conversation with someone over the weekend as well. I find it very disheartening looking into what we've just had this weekend. So, like, elite golf, professional golf, it's becoming harder and harder to work it out, to plan it, to see what way the game is going. But, like, this week, for instance, we had 2 of the game's most historic championships were played this weekend, with the Australian Open and the South African Open, and most of the best players in the world are all off playing an exhibition match in the Bahamas. Like, it's a sad indictment as to where we're going. It's kind of linking us into the Aussie Open and the South African Open, but we'll start off with the Aussie Open. I suppose we'd a fair few runners and riders in this ourselves, but yeah, Joaquin Niemann anyway came out like late charge, got a nice late eagle. I don't know if you watched any of this. I watched actually a bit more of this than other golf over the weekend. It was a really, really good tournament. But yeah, it's nice to see the RNA recognising tournaments like this, legacy tournaments, and giving away spots into the Open through the Open qualifying series down here at the Australian Open. But the Masters have to take a look at themselves as well, and if they want to be supporting global golf in the way they say they should, take some of the spots from the PGA Tour that, like, every week on the PGA Tour pretty much gets you into the Masters. And look at, I know Harrington highlighted this issue about 2 or 3 months ago, said that, like, these legacy tournaments need more support from the governing bodies, and the majors are the only way that you can do that, is access to the majors. So the RNA did it at the Australian Open. The Masters Committee really need to step up, I think, on this and start adding players in and just giving more recognition to these type of events, because they're struggling for fields. Without getting the live players back, like, they're struggling for fields.
I mean, even the fact that you had the South African Open and the Australian Open both running simultaneously, they're obviously taking. If you took the combined fields from the two of those and put them into one, you're talking about it. You're talking about an extremely good tournament. Then,
yeah.
Okay, you're not still not going to have many of the top 20 players in the world, or probably none of the top 20 players in the world there, but the two of them would be really, really good, really competitive tournaments, and like some of the higher standard events on the DP World Tour. But the fact that the two of them are on at the same time in absolutely miles apart from each other, it really took away from the two of them. But that said, it was a great week for live golfers.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like Joaquin Niemann again. Like, you have Dean Burmester doing the double in South Africa, then Niemann goes and does what he does. Not quite enough, looking at the stats of it. Like, he came out and he got a top 10 last week. He's won this week then at the Australian Open, and it's still not enough to get him inside. Like, his goal was to get inside the top 50 at the end of the year. He's up now to 59th on that. But, like, I haven't seen him hit a shot probably this year. He is one of the biggest losses to live golf. That was like, right, like, I know we complain week in, week out about, some of them were past their sell by date, some of them are. This is a guy that was right in the peak, like the stuff that he'd done in Riviera the season before, and really burst onto the scene, and how good of a player he is. I've missed a year of his career now, and it's only when I seen him, going about his business around the Australian Open and winning when he needed to win, when he knew he had to win to give him a chance to get that top 50. It's it's sad to see, and hopefully all this John Ram crap will sort it all out, and these boys will get in a room and iron something out that works for professional golf the whole way across the top, and not just the money man.
Yeah, he was a little bit underwhelming on live this season. I was just looking at his results there this morning. So I think Niemann had one 7th place finish was his best result. Maybe had like two other top 10s, and then the rest of it was, I think he finished 24th or 23rd on the money list or something like. So he's or in the rankings. So he's well down the list. He just didn't have a great year. Now that happens to players anyway. It happens to players no matter where they're playing. They have dips in their career, but I mean, he's an enormous talent, and it's only a matter of time before a player like that generally start to show it again, start to just rediscover the form we all know they're capable of.
Cam was on home turf as well this week. Didn't have the tournament he wanted, but he's still thereabouts, up there. Had 4 good days, and he spent a couple of them with Irishmen. I know you were covering that, Ronan, over the weekend. So
yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, he played with Conor Purcell and Mark Power in the final round, but he ended up playing 36 with Conor. They played on Saturday as well, and Conor matched him on the Saturday with a 69. But I just saw a couple of clips on social media from the two lads, Mark and Conor, and they're obviously with Cam, and the crowds were massive. Like, so I said that was just a really, really good experience. Like, yourself, you're middle of the pack in a tournament, you're at nothing really in the grand scheme of things. You're not going to threaten the lead or the top 10. You can kind of go through the motions without, really entertaining anybody. But like, the galleries were 3 and 4 deep watching them, like, because obviously Cam, I'd say, is still just a massive draw out there. Even I know they've Minwoo Lee won last week and he was flying, and Adam Scott was in contention as well this week. But I'd say Cam just trumps the two of those lads put together really at the moment. He obviously won the Live Adelaide thing, I think, as well, so I'm sure there's a lot of love for him still from that. But like, I'd say the experience for the two boys, the two Irish lads, was really, really good. And look, was I suppose a nice little thing for them to end the year on as well, to play an Open champion. It's not every day that happens. Yeah,
it's pretty class. It is class. Did you watch any of that, Mark?
Very little. I watched the last couple of holes. So I watched Neiman sticking one in close for eagle on 18 and then missing it to win the tournament, and then giving himself exactly the same putt in the playoff. And I thought, well, it was nearly a carbon copy because it's the Japanese guy that's
Hoshino.
He beat in the playoff. Hoshino, yeah. I mean, he did a carbon copy hitting into the bunker and got up and down for birdie. Thought, Neiman's gonna miss this one again. We're gonna go back, but in fairness to him, he definitely learned from the first one and stuck it away. That's pretty much all I saw of it. I'm ashamed to admit.
No, it'll be good to chat to. I know that's Conor Purcell's last tournament of the year now, isn't it? He was chatting to you, so it'll be good to chat to the boys about that experience, and that'll put them in. It's a good learning experience to play in front of those crowds and feed off that and just see where you stand. And Mark Power's got some great experience over the last couple of months again, and he is one that you would like to see feature in a tournament very soon, and I think he actually will. So it's really good to see. Brendan Lawler finished second as well in the ISPS All Abilities, sort of G4D equivalent over there as well. A good week for him. He's off to the States now, I seen, but he finished a couple of shots off the lead. The winner was home player Lachlan Wood, who's kind of dominated the All Abilities game in Australia over the last year. So it was his first big win, really, sort of an international field in that way. And yeah, he seemed pretty happy with that. But Brendan seemed pretty happy. By the last round, they were paired together in the last round as well, and Lachlan just went under par, which is serious considering the crowds. They as well, like, I know we've remarked on it a few times over the season that this is the one event that Brendan earmarks that he said we're playing as part of the tournament. It's not a sideline act, and yeah, it's good to see. He performed, he stood up to the plate, and he's going to end the year with a decent bit of form. I'm sure he's targeting some big events for next year to try and move on again and reclaim that world number one spot.
We really need an Irish G4D event, I think, with the deal that Golf Ireland have signed with ISPS. And look, Brennan's obviously one of the poster boys for the G4D tour and for disability golf overall. The G4D event they had up in Galgorm obviously will be gone now because that's moving on. So there definitely is a spot to be filled for next year. And just looking at the schedule for 2024, this was obviously part of the 2024 schedule. There isn't one for Ireland next year, but like surely something needs to be done to get one on the calendar. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll be looking at the Irish Open and Royal County Down and trying to squeeze something in there or doing something. Like, they don't really have many opportunities, that's the thing. That event would be one that they could target, but yeah, no, definitely they do. But no, it's good to see Brendan finishing the year off strong anyway. The South African Open then.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's right.
Burmester, in fairness, too, and
back to back.
I always like to see a home winner, a couple of home wins in a row. In fairness, but now he's another player. When he went to Live, he was on the cusp of that top 50. He was kind of breaking his back to get into the Masters this year. Just gone, didn't get in. He's like, right, feck it, I'm off the Live. I'll see you after. He's still 77th in the world. In fairness, like, he's still probably one of the best South African players at the moment out there. It's always weird when you see them with their blazer on, lifting the trophy, and they still have who does he play for, the Stingers or the South African crowd? Like, he still has the cap on as they always seem to do. But no, look, a good win. A pretty shocking field, though, in fairness.
It's just a home field. It's just South African players.
It's all the Sunshine Tour lads. Yeah. And I was interested to see how Matteo Manacero got on, actually. And he was actually going quite well. But a 73-72 over the weekend done him out, but he still got a share of 5th place. But
that young guy Scheffler as well.
He's one to watch for next year. Matteo, Marco Penge as well, 12th place. Like I think he'll go well next year.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, what Mark was saying there about 2 historic tournaments having pretty poor fields. Like we can give out about the Australian one, but the Australian one kicks this one out of the park. Like this field is terrible.
Yeah, no, it is. No, enough said. We won't dance on the Springboks anymore. But yeah, like the biggest thing that's happened away from off the golf course, then, like getting into stuff now, like it's all speculation, but it's been leaked from proper sources, and you have players kicking the shit out of each other on Twitter all weekend.
It's all because Erica gave Rory back his Twitter login.
Yeah,
that's where it's all gone now.
He's allowed. Sean O'Flaherty needs to step up to the plate now and take that phone back off Rory. But yeah, it's a bit mad. Like, obviously, a lot of people in the world of professional golf are very unhappy about and taken to social media in the last, and players quiz down the Bahamas about the proposed golf ball rollback that the RNA and USGA are gonna bring out. I think there's a press conference scheduled for Wednesday. So yeah, I don't know. It could drop. It'd be funny if it dropped the same time as John Ram signs for Liv. One overshadowing the other. But I don't know. What are your feelings on this? Like, the crux of it is they came out after like a 3 or 4 year consultation process. They have come out earlier on this year. They came out with bifurcation. They were looking at this, having separate balls. People lost their shit over that. Rightfully so. They've went back, in my opinion, and they've come back with something that's a little bit better. And they say, right, if we're not going to have different balls for this and different balls for that, then let's roll it back for everybody. Now, I think this is the right thing to do, and I know I'm kind of, I don't know, am I on the right or the wrong side of this argument, but yeah, basically what they've come back with now, so 317 yards is the most that the ball should be able to fly around their testing. And when they released these things at the start of the year, it was done from a swing speed of 120 mile an hour. They've actually upped that now to 125 mile an hour, but left the 317 the same. So it's going to be a long drawn out process of bringing this in. Leaked reports are saying 2028 for the pro game, and we'll have an extra 2 years after that for the amateur game. So this is a long way away. And it's a long way away, but even now releasing it, it's probably too little, too late. You know, the horse is bolted. But I don't know. What did you make of all of the stuff that came out over the weekend, Mark? What did you think of that?
Well, I was when they did make the announcement earlier on in the year that they were planning the bifurcation, as you said. I was for that. I thought that was a good idea, a good compromise. But look, if that wasn't going to work, then yeah, I'm all for this. I mean, look, I'm 100% behind the idea that the ball does go too far. It's plain to see. It's black and white. There's there's so many of the skills have been taken out of the pro game now, and they're just mashing the ball as far as they can and then hitting it from there. We see very, very few long irons getting hit in professional golf now, and the only sort of time we see them, the odd time on a par 5, we see them an odd time on really long par 3s. But like, to me, when I go and watch professional golf or watch elite players playing golf, watching them hit a long iron is one of the most impressive things in the game. I'm sure they all the distance they hit their drivers and everything is incredibly impressive, but watching them strike a long iron is second to none to me. Just the control, the flight, it's incredible to watch, and anything that brings more of that into the professional game can only be a positive. But I do think that this is a better one than the bifurcated model, because there's so many amateurs that are hitting the ball every bit as long as
ridiculous
as long as the pros.
I was the other day. I was up at Concept Golf, not to get the plug in again, but I was up there the other day, and in the bay next door to me there was a guy hitting the ball. Now this guy was 6'1", 6'2", well built guy, guns out on show, and he's hitting his driver, and I'm looking at it, like, you could hear the crunch of it. got talking to him, watching him hitting balls, and he was getting a ball speed of 189 mile an hour. And a club, like, it was just frightening listening to it, seeing it happen. Like, he was getting more carry distance, more speed than Rory McIlroy would on average as well. Like, he was constantly hitting these numbers at, like, hitting these balls at 2-2 spin, 189 mile an hour ball speed, and God only knows what club head speed. And I asked him, what does he play off? 12. Like, it's too easy for a guy like him to rein it back slightly and still be so far ahead and this is where like there's such a responsibility now. Like, we talk a lot about the pro game, and we have pros losing their shit over the weekend about stuff that, like, really they shouldn't, like, they should just accept. And it's affecting their livelihoods, but it's the future of the game, and it's for everyone. It's the same sort of rules coming down. But what the RNA and the USGA are having to decide on now is, what do we want the future of golf to be? What do we want golfers? What skill sets in the game do we want to reward? And it's becoming quite clear, the last decade especially, but the last 20 years since, really since the launch of Pro V and stuff like that, that the golf ball is low-hanging fruit to try and limit that. And I'm hoping it's the first in a number of different things that they look at. So the golf ball is rolled back. Driver heads need to be curtailed on certain tours. Yeah, it's fine for weekend hackers like us to be out using 460cc heads, but, like, it should be nowhere near that for pros on tour and stuff like that. And they're easy things that they can do. But, like, yeah, the days of, like, when I see guys like Keegan Bradley come out and having a meltdown over the weekend over this and saying it's affecting his career, and this is the second time, because he was really affected swing-wise by the long putter when they brought the broom handle stuff in. And then you've Ricky Fowler coming out saying, like, this was a problem 20 years ago, and giving out about it now. But, like, he's kind of winning it. Like, he's talking himself out of his own argument. If it was a problem 20 years ago, it's a bigger problem now, and it's only going one way. It's only getting worse. Like, I've hit the golf balls that some of the manufacturers, your Callaways and your TaylorMades and all that, are bringing out for next year, and already they're faster. Like, without going into any detail of what they are, we're under embargo and this, that and the other. They're longer, they're faster, they stay in the air longer, they stay in the, and it's just, it's distance, and it's controlled distance, it's controlling spin, and it's gone too far. And that's a rant of mine now, but it is. I just think it's gone too far. And putting the handcuffs on this, it should have been done 20 years ago, and it's a pity more focus wasn't on this sooner. And it's a pity now, timing wise, with everything else that's going on in professional golf. Like, professional golfers just seem to be really, really unhappy across the board at the top of the game, and having a problem with everything, and the world's against me, but they're still going away with tens of millions a year, most of them, so they're at the end of the year. But it's a responsibility of the game that the governing bodies need to implement, and it's just a start. And if anybody wants to see a common sense approach, you can go for the, Rory went a bit too heavy into it, I would say. Some of the other guys have gone really heavy into it. Pádraig Harrington, look at the tweet that he stuck out yesterday, that thread. He's kind of against it, by him, but he said it's easy to roll back on the rollback and try something else. Something needs to be done. He was all against the grooves when they changed U grooves, V grooves back in the day, and he was outnumbered on that, and that was a massive part of his game. He had to adapt, and he'll admit that was for the better of the game from that move to here now. And, like, it's just going to be interesting to see. But definitely, if you don't understand what's happening here, or don't understand what's going on, or why, Pádraig Harrington's a good sounding board. Have a look at the thread that he sent out, and that'll teach you everything you need to know about this.
Yeah, and what Harrington said on that as well is, Harrington acknowledged his own bias in it. He said, the changing the grooves negatively impacted him, so he was against it. But I mean, all the pros that are coming out and talking so vocally against any ball rollback, like, of course, every single one of them is biased. Yeah, every single one of them, they've all got like contracts to use specific kind of balls. They're like, their objectivity is completely taken away by any of their contracts, and also by the fact that they're performing at the elite level with this specific piece of equipment. Sure, a rollback ball. There's like some players it's gonna favor. Some players it's gonna be detrimental to, and they have no way of knowing for sure what impact it's going to have on them. So they're like, no, things are good for me now. I don't want anything to change. But that's only common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we would all react the same way if there were things that were going to possibly be negative towards us. That's why the players are the least credible source on this. You can't take.
Well, no, because it's self-interest. Yeah, it's self-interest. And it was interesting for me with Keegan, though, that when he came out and said Strickson made him up some golf balls based on that, and he was hitting it like 30, 40 yards shorter, and this is not fair. But it's going to be across the board, you know, so the way you're still percentage distance, the percentage difference between you and the longest player on tour is still the exact same. You know, you can work out other areas that will get that, you can do it. It's really the amateur game. Like I don't really care about pros hitting it as far and doing what they're doing, because it's a circus. The pro game is a circus.
That 12 handicapper you were talking about up in Concept Golf with his 189 ball speed. I mean, the fact that he's playing off 12 means that he's not hitting that dead straight down the middle every single time.
He's caved 4 driver faces this year. He said he caved 4 driver faces.
His misses are going to be like a health hazard to neighbouring houses, the people 3 fairways over.
Jesus, Mark, you can't be calling his misses a health hazard. No, I agree with you. No, he said he'd often drive par fours and 3 jag, walk off with pars. It's like soul destroying stuff. But yeah, it's creeping more. But that's all. Like that's what I was hitting at earlier on about the. You know, and like people saying that it's going to have such an effect on the amateur game, and you know, it's just when golf is growing and when golf is booming at it, and you're putting handcuffs onto it and stopping people doing this. But like, there's too much emphasis on driving the ball in the amateur game anyway. And like, you look at Arcos or look at any of those tracking systems, and you go and you delve into their data, they will say that the number one area to improve your game is just hit the ball further. It's common sense, and it's the easiest way to go about this.
What would you rather be hitting as an amateur? Would you rather be, say, out of the rough, hitting a 5 iron or hitting an 8 iron?
Oh yeah, naturally you want to hit an 8 iron.
Yeah,
naturally. But if you know that, like, it's not going to do that to us. It might do it to you, Ron. You're swinging at 110 mile an hour on average, right? So your average, you're well above average on that. You're a scratch golfer. Like, I'm not. I'm swinging like 7, 8, 9 mile an hour slower than you.
You need to hit the gym, Pete.
I won't see as much of a difference in this new ball. And then, like, 80% of most amateur golfers swinging between 80 and 95 mile an hour. You're going to see no difference in the ball.
Yeah, but like Harrington actually made a good point about this on his Twitter thread. It's a long thing to get through, but it is worth committing to. Like he's talked about the members clubs, and you know your casual, you know, weekend player, someone who hits the ball maybe, you know, 200 yards, 220, whatever it is. Like they're the quickest players because they know they can't reach the green the next one. They just go up and hit it again.
Yeah.
So he was saying about at the Masters at the second tee, which I've actually never noticed. Maybe it's just because of the television. But there's always a 20-minute wait on the second tee at the Masters because players are waiting for the green ahead.
And it's a blind tee shot as well.
And it's a blind tee shot. Yeah. So like little things like that are interesting. Would dialing back the ball for amateurs speed up play? I don't know. Maybe. But it's almost contradictory to roll it back for amateurs because, you know, amateurs need the distance. A lot of amateurs, you know, don't go to the gym, are going to lose distance anyway with age, whereas, you know, the pros can kind of keep it up with their training and everything like that. You know, a lot of amateurs sit in a chair Monday to Friday, go and play at the weekend. You know, they're stiffening up week on week. So they need that ball to go that little bit further.
Yeah, but we're talking about the most limitations are going to come in if you swing at 120 to 125 mile an hour and you're carrying the ball 317 yards, so they've put upper limits on it. If you're swinging at 90 mile an hour, 95 mile an hour, like you're getting it out there 220, 230. It's not going to harm you as much.
I think it's how much they compress the ball at that speed and how much it then springboards off the club face. It's gonna be negligent differences for somebody who's hitting their driver 210, 215 yards anyway.
You'd nearly hit a 7-iron that far, Mark.
But no,
I played yesterday. And it was like 1 degree maybe when I teed off, and so I'm hitting like driver 8-iron to a hole where I'd be hitting driver sand wedge easily in the middle of the summer, and it didn't affect my enjoyment of playing golf yesterday in the slightest. So it's the difference between winter golf and summer golf here. Yeah. That's in how far you hit the ball, and that's not gonna drive anybody away from the golf. This notion that that people are going to leave, people aren't going to be happy playing golf and they're going to quit playing the game because their ball goes 10% less. Like, that's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, no, I'd go along with that. I think the same. I wouldn't. We're speculating a lot on a lot of things, but like we said, this isn't out yet. It isn't done, but like you can read between the lines on it. But yeah, it's I'm interested to see. I hope they don't just come out with just the rollback and they say that they're looking at other areas as well. That they kind of let the genie out of the bottle 20 years ago when they were looking at putters. They should have been looking at balls and driver heads and sizes of heads and stuff like that. Like, you take a driver now, like they've COR limits, they've MOI, like they've limits across everything to get a club head conforming and with face and deflection and stuff like that and materials. So there's already a lot of parameters there, but it's not enough, and it's definitely not enough in the top end of the game. And I want to see professional golfers tested more. I want to see more artists in the game. Like, what a professional golfer is now. Like, I think a lot of the guys on tour are they're fearful of becoming obsolete, the younger guys, because there is such an emphasis on speed, on distance, that distance that, say, someone like an Aberg that's just come through now, what will it have? Like, there are a dime a dozen in the States, not saying with his talent, but like coming through the collegiate system to hit the ball so far, whereas there's not as many artists coming through into professional golf that work the ball as well, a good all-rounder and stuff like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how this pans out, but I'm hoping it's the first of a number of measures to dial things back a bit, keep golf relevant.
Distance will still be every bit as important in the professional game as it always has been. I mean, you're still, if you're the longest player in the game, you're still going to have a considerable advantage over shorter hitters. It's the only difference really is that certain golf courses golf courses that are obsolete are still going to be obsolete, even if you're taking, if they're losing 10 or 15 yards of a drive. That's still not going to bring some of the golf courses back, but some of the golf courses that are in existence that are kind of on the verge of being made obsolete, that's going to safeguard them for the next while, at least, until. And look, maybe players are going to come out and they're going to, like, maybe your 125 mile an hour club head speed is going to be the norm in 5 or 6 years on tour, and you're going to have lads swinging at 135. Plus, like,
it's a big lead-in time to this. I think that's where we'll draw the line under it. It's a big lead-in time to this. It's 2030, if you believe reports. It'll be confirmed this week for us hackers, and it's 2028 for elite golf and professional golf. And it will be really interesting to see. They mightn't do it tomorrow, but like, it wouldn't be surprised if they did this week when they release it out, that the RNA and the Masters Committee or something like that do actually say before 2028 we'll have our own tournament ball, and then that brings in another layer of complication that they are actually restricting it further back themselves because they can for those events. And I think that was the big problem they had last year, that the PGA Tour said, listen, we'll bring in a modified local rule, and we just won't play with your ball. We'll do our own thing. Whereas if it's done in the majors, and you've seen guys like Rory, he was one of the first one vocally to come out and say, if they bring in a ball that is exclusive for the Open and the Masters, I will play that ball, and I'll give up 15, 20 yards on all of my other tournaments, knowing that I'll be better prepared when I go into the Masters and into the Open and into the majors and stuff. So it's a very interesting space. Huge consequences at the top and the bottom of the game for what the RNA are doing, and commercially as well. Like Rory did hit the nail on the head about commercial interests and stuff like that. I don't agree with, I think he went a little too far on saying, like, do you really think we play the same stuff as you do? Like, especially when you're taking millions of quid every year to peddle the stuff at us, and claim that we are actually doing the same and hitting the same. And so it'll be very interesting to see, but it's the first of a long.
I always knew we weren't playing the same as him. I always knew it.
The genie's out now. That's
I think
it.
probably what he's getting at there is the little modifications which he's able to request and he's able to get done. I'd imagine that's not necessarily across the board.
Your Pro V1 is different to his, Mark. Just accept it.
I don't think you're world number 200. Well, I'm talking equipment wise and per se, rather than
they're trying to refine spin windows and get into, like, they're trying to minutely figure out how they can get 200 RPMs of spin off this drive, because he can hit the same ball 3 times in a row and do it that way. So it's minute. I know what you mean. You don't think he was going as deep as saying, listen, the golf ball you're using, it's not in the halfpenny place compared to the rocket ship I'm launching. But it was he went a bit too far in that. But Erica needs to take the phone back off him now, leave him. That's the first tweet I think that he's personally composed since he had a go at Elkington.
He's also talking about a player like who obviously has serious pull and serious serious weight at the top of the game. I don't think your world number 500 or 600 is going to TaylorMade and getting them like, okay, this driver you've given me doesn't, I want a new one created that does, slightly this, more of this, or slightly more.
There's
of
a gram too much of hot melt in there. I need you to take that out on the holiday. They say, will you get the boat, will you? After giving you a driver, come on, jog on, son, jog on.
Here, do you know where you go? Across there to the fucking ping truck and see if.
They'll all run them. Go across to the pro shop and buy one. But no, I think that we'll draw a line under that till we have official confirmation on it. But that's it. Is there anything else you want to hit on?
Well, the Ram to live rumours still, we're kind of nearly a week on. I know we recorded the pod last Wednesday, I suppose, but it's Monday recording today, so we have another 5 days in the bank, and the rumours are showing no sign of slowing down. I know then if there was nothing to it, Ram would have surely come out and said this is a load of bollocks, like he has on several occasions before. And Jordan Spieth did kind of hint to it. He was asked about it, and Spieth said words. I'm gonna paraphrase him here now. But he said something like, John's considering offer. I don't know if he's made any decisions or not, but a couple of people have been talking to him, and they he's considering things. He's weighing things up. But Spieth also said that Ram would be a major loss to the PGA Tour, which is, I think something we can all agree on anyway. But it's not looking good.
Yeah,
it's not looking good.
Depends what side of the fence you're on, I suppose. I think it looks great. I think if it gets them all negotiating, gets them all talking, fair play. Play on.
I think he'll go, to be honest. I think Ram, I've always had this feeling that he's a chip on his shoulder, and he's a man who likes to be loved, and I don't think he'll ever get in on the whole Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy love triangle, that kind of love in. But like he's got huge ties, obviously, with Sergio Garcia and Phil Mickelson, going back to when he was in college. Like, so, there's a little triangle he can, get his pat on the back in and say, how great are you, John? So I would be shocked if he doesn't go to live in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's this week it's meant to happen, so let's see. We'll be the judge of it. It's an interesting week for me. I'm off to South Carolina tomorrow for and going to a golf ball plant. I'd say like TaylorMade.
These are all useless lads.
TaylorMade, have in their wisdom, so going as the last of the sort of equipment press trips, going across to their own golf ball plant in South Carolina in Liberty, and going through all their products for next year, and an interesting time for them to invite probably 100 of the world's golf equipment media to a ball plant the week that the golf ball is going to be rolled back. I'd say they're running around panicking at this stage. They've plane loads of lads coming from everywhere tomorrow, just going, what
well,
the
your words,
hell?
Your words on this.
Your invite must be in the postmark, is it?
Yeah, I hope they don't listen to this podcast. I'm like, I'll be asking about it straight. Yeah, what's going on? What are your plans for this? Do you have any rollback balls I can borrow off you?
You'd find yourself involved in a plant accident over there.
No, it'll be interesting to see. But no, I think that's it. Like, I don't know. Like, anything else you want to cover on before we get into heroes and villains?
No,
I think we have the world all put to rights here again.
The world all put to rights, right? Heroes. I'm going to go first with my heroes. It's Harrington for the common sense approach. I've two of them, and Matty Fitz for ratting out Colin. They're definitely my heroes.
Yeah, well, I had Matty Fitz down as well. It's like I'm not rolling with the snitches get stitches one here. Fair play to him.
Ronan.
My hero is John Murphy.
John Murphy, come on.
Min Woo Lee's best buddy. Like, the two of them are on
drinking
the
on
piss,
Twitter. I've seen.
Need to find out how they got to become friends. Like, need to get him on the pod just to talk about Min Woo Lee for a full hour.
We get Min Woo on. Get the two of them on.
And my villain is Erling Haaland.
You can't do a football.
Yeah, he can't. There's
Listen,
golfing villains on it today.
I will not have a bad word said about Alf-Inge Haaland.
Roy Keane should have finished the job when he had the chance.
No, David Wetherell did.
David Wetherell
did. Go on. Why do you want to pick Alf-Inge Haaland?
Just a loser, isn't he?
Stop, you can't say that.
Comment on your son's tweet. Get over it, like.
Right. Do you have any villains, Mark?
My villain is every single professional golfer who's fucked their toys out of the pram this week and start moaning about the rollback. The fact that some of them are trying to say is no, they're now concerned about about the effect it's going to have on the average golfer, the club golfer.
As if they care.
Yeah, they don't care.
If that was your issue, then bifurcation you'd have been all for it a few months ago, but you fucked your toys out of the pram again then. Yeah. So tough shit. Yeah,
no, I've no sympathy for them all. I'd agree with you. Now, I did have, I'd singled out Keegan Bradley for his rants and stuff like that and things, but no, I'd tar them all with the one brush. In fairness to Rory, Harrington, Tiger, there's very few players coming out and actually backing this and saying, give the governing bodies a go. And a lot of pros are getting quite nasty with their approach to this, saying, you govern the amateur game, keep your mitts out of what we're doing, and because there's so much at stake, and I understand that, but pro golf is carving itself up at the top level, and it's not a pretty watch at the minute, but they'll get theirs. I think that's it. But again, thanks to Concept Golf for sponsoring the podcast for this month. Visit conceptgolf.ie to get vouchers for Christmas. You can get denominations starting from 25 quid, 50 quid on their thing, and the vouchers can be used on anything, for lessons, for TrackMan, for custom fits on all the new equipment. We'll be doing all our testing with Concept Golf next year again, as we did this year, so he will have a lot of the products there early as well that you can get down and get booked in and test. So visit conceptgolf.ie. And outside that, cheers for everyone for tuning in. Cheers to Mark and Ronan for giving up the time again this week. And I'm off to the States. I'll be back next Monday to record anyway again, so I won't go missing like I did last month. So right, go on. I'll chat to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.